Hi there, Craig with Travel and Tartan here. Today I thought I'd do a quick video on carry-on bags. Different kinds of carry-on bags, pros, cons of each kind, what might be helpful to you when you're choosing your next carry-on bag. So let's get after it. Alright, first things first with carry-on bags, the different kinds that you can get. You can do soft type of carry-on bag, you can do the backpack, rucksack kind of carry-on bag, or you can do the more hard case carry-on bag. I have used all of these for years and I enjoy them all for different reasons. So we're going to get into each different one. I'm going to break them down, let you know what I think of the positives and the negatives of each kind, and that way you're going to be more informed to choose. Okay, so let's start with the soft case. Very, very popular. Really very popular. Probably the better selling kinds you can buy. Soft cases tend to be a lot more flexible. They give you a lot more ability to do all sorts of different stuff. You've got the fact that most of them have more expandability than, say, a hard case. They tend to have more pockets everywhere that you can put things in, which makes them a lot more useful when maybe you're going through the airport, you want to just easily get to a passport, or there's something in there, maybe there's a magazine, you just want to grab your magazine out or your book, just simple things like that. So from that perspective, they're very friendly to use. They also tend to get less damage showing on them. So with the hard cases, it's a little bit different. With these, you know, if you scratch them, you don't tend to see those as much. So that's quite good. On the negative side of that, they do tend to seem dirtier quite quickly. Obviously, if you buy a darker fabric, you're probably better off whether you buy something like a black style. But something that isn't black, and actually I've even had some that are black, but the styling of the black has made it actually more attractive to dirt for some reason. So they do tend to be a little bit more dirty looking the more you use them. But then again, some people like that because that shows they use the thing, which is awesome. The other thing is obviously it's soft, so not going to have as much security for your products. If you have something that's breakable in there, there's a little bit more chance that it could get damaged. Obviously this is a carry-on bag, so it's going to be with you on the plane, on the train, wherever you're going. So the chances are you're going to take care of it, but it is always something to think through, something to remember. You usually have two different kinds of these. They've got 4 wheels or 2 wheels, so you can drag it behind you or you can just push it along. A lot of them now, or more of them now, are really 4 wheels. This sort of the ergonomic / trendy cool way of using these, and the hard cases are sort of pushing them along with you rather than pulling them. I have done both and I still do both. I don't know. I think it is sometimes a little bit easier to use, but you do have to be careful of the type of wheels they have. Better quality ones have better wheels, less chance of them getting snagged on stuff, less chance of them breaking, things like that. Things to remember when you're buying these. So there we go. That's that. Moving on. Okay, so now we're on to hard cases. A couple of different kinds of these. You've got the sort of plasticky one, and then you have the legit metal version. Obviously the metal is a lot more expensive generally than these plastic ones are, so that's up to you whether you really want to go full on Hitman style, or you're okay with just the kind of blown plastic, ballistic plastic, whatever they decide to call it. Positives of these, they do tend to get less dirty, and if they get dirty, they're easy to clean. That's a great thing. Positives of these, definitely can make sure your products inside are a little bit more safe, a little bit more secure, less chance you're going to break anything. But it only is slightly better. I mean, when you look at it, it's only thin plastic, and it does bend a little bit. So that's something you've got to pay attention to. On the negative side, these guys tend to be a lot less flexible in a multitude of different ways. They're not very expansive. They have some cool technologies inside some of them. Generally, they're a little bit on the more premium end, where you can stuff clothes in, you can smash them down, You know, you can really cram a lot into these guys, but they don't have a lot of expansion capability on them, generally speaking. You look at your soft case, you can really cram a lot in there and it's bulging a little bit, but it's doable. This guy doesn't really bulge at all, so what you have is what you have, and that's you done. The other big negatives you've got, they definitely show scratches much easier. Now obviously different colors may show them slightly differently, but the minute these start getting scratched, they're going to start to show. I mean, you can see I got a lot of scratches on these things. We've used these a handful of times. Again, like these, with being dirty, that's part of the thing of traveling. You know, you travel more, you get dirty cases, you get scratched up cases. That's okay. That's okay. If that's what you're happy with, then that's awesome. Another thing that you got to pay attention to with something like this, that I'll be honest, I never really thought about until I actually bought this and started using it. There are no pockets on this at all. None. Zero. So if you want to get a magazine out or a book, you literally have to open the case in the middle of the terminal. Excuse me, I'm just getting my book out. And you get your book out, you know, and your stuff's falling all over the place. It won't be, because it'll be nice and neat, but you know what I mean, right? So that is definitely a big negative for that. Now, obviously, you could have a small bag with you, you could have something else, but if this is all you have, then it's something to think about. Again, positives and negatives, all right? So that is hard cases. All right, last but not least group, and I know I've missed out a few kind of niche, smaller groups like duffel bags and so on and so forth, but let's be realistic. These are the most reasonable styles that most people are buying, so I kind of went with the generic on this. Rucksack slash backpack. This has been a really cool, useful item for me more recently, and I'm really impressed with this. I'm really happy. It's the very first decent one I've ever bought. I've had obviously rucksacks for years, but this is the first really decent one I bought. Has a lot of cool features to it. I'm not going to go into this specific one, but obviously on the pro side for these kind of things, you've got multitudes of pockets and holes and all sorts of stuff going on, right? So from that perspective, awesome. Really easy to use, put stuff everywhere. Now the big advantage goes over your back. Arms are now free to do whatever you need to, right? You're not pulling anything, you're not walking with anything. You got two hands free, you can do whatever you want with them. So that's another definite advantage there. They tend to be a little smaller, so you tend to find you can't stick as much stuff in them, so you have to be a little careful with that. You also want to be careful of the shoulder straps. Some of them aren't nearly as padded as others, so you got to be a little bit careful with that. That's something that if you have an opportunity, you know, and you're at a store, at least try some of them on and get a feel for that. Kind of maybe have someone yanking it a wee bit down from behind you, so you can kind of feel that on your shoulder to kind of feel what it's like. But that's another, and there's lots of different designs of this. So. But that's a negative there. They are obviously very soft, generally speaking, so chances are you put any breakables in here, you got to be a little bit careful. So each of them have, without doubt, their own positives and negatives. A really nice thing, especially if you're going away for a day or two and you're maybe going to another city, it's really nice to have this on your back. Now you get your hands free to be able to use, rather than dragging a case around with you as you go. But let's be realistic, you're not going to get very far on a long weekend with just this. You're not really getting much in there. So it's only for kind of day travel, or simply you just want to have a change of clothes in there, a couple of wee bits and pieces, and the rest of your stuff is either in your luggage or maybe in one of these that maybe your partner or somebody you have with you carries. But there you go. That is kind of where we're at. Like I said, I have all of these. I have used them all for a long time. I like them all for different reasons, and I dislike them for different reasons. I would highly recommend the backpack if it works for you, because I think it's a great tool when you're out. But thing to bear in mind, obviously it's over your back. If it's heavy, it is going to start to get uncomfortable. This will never get uncomfortable because it's on the ground and you're just wheeling it along. So if you're purely going from your house to the airport to the hotel, there's nothing in between, then either of these cases are probably a great way to go. Obviously be careful of the size you're buying. Think of what you're using it for. There's definitely a difference in size based on carry-on bags in different airlines, both in the States and in Europe. They tend to be a little bit smaller in Europe, and definitely they are more interested in the weight in Europe. So you gotta be a little bit careful, but all of them are great. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Feel free to comment below on anything you thought I missed, or things that you like, bags that you like or find issues with. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.